Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to UI Fridays. My name is Alyssa Nichol, and today on UI Friday, I hope one, you're not having a meltdown, because I've was on a stream earlier with some friends on Angular Air, and the chat was talking, and apparently there's a lot of struggles recently, last couple weeks. A lot of friends are just having hard times. I don't know why. It's like maybe it's the weather, like mid-February. It's like pretty bad, middle of US, South US. Or maybe it's those winter blues. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Or why this week is worse than others, but hopefully you are not having a Friday meltdown. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Pull up chat so I can see you beautiful people joining on Twitch or on YouTube. So yes, today is a day. It is Friday. And my friend Ed Charbeneau, you might know him from Blazor Power Hour or other Blazor related events. He was working on some CSS. Hey, Salt! Chris is in the chat. He was working on some CSS and learning grid, which I know like this much about. I use Flexbox everywhere, and ashamedly, is that a word? Yeah, we're gonna say it's a word. I don't use grid in very many places, and so I have used it. I'm a little bit familiar with the syntax and the complexities of it, but yeah. So he was explaining. Ed was explaining to me why he was using grid. And essentially it was to get this layered effect so that this border radius would show. And I feel like there's got to be a better way than like positioning, negative margins, grid. I feel there's gonna be a simpler way for making the layering of an element and the border radius to show. But maybe I'm completely wrong. So I was going to pull up his code. It is on hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing. Grid is the best way. Hang on. Salt is saying in the chat, I was using Flex for client project. Here, I'll put it up so that the YouTube folks can see. I was using Flex for a client project and went back and replaced it with Grid because it was just painless. Grid is the best way. So I feel like they have different use cases. I do. And I feel like this particular use case, again, haven't seen the code, just saw a screenshot, calls for neither. but I could be completely wrong. So I'm really excited to pull it down and try it out. Here is Ed's code. Ed, I love you. I'm sharing it with the world, so hopefully you're fine with that. All right, let's pull this over here so that we can share it with my account. I am Speedo Girl in anything game related. I love Destiny on Xbox. Hit me up if you want to raid sometime. But yes, that is why I'm Speedo Girl in the chat, because I was a gamer on Twitch before I was a developer on Twitch. Okay. So yes, this is the codes that we'll be breaking down, and I'm going to do a thing where I share the screen. But tell me how your Fridays are and what time it is for you. It is 1 p.m. for me. I feel like this lighting, why can't I talk, is super yellow. We're going to turn up the lights like, 35%. And you can tell me if I look like a Simpsons character or not. Chris said that my Xbox is the most expensive Blu-ray player I've ever owned. Wow. Chris. Okay, yeah, that's too bright. I don't know what's going on with my lighting today. I'm going to go down to 25%. That hurts my soul. I want the day to end. I have a meeting at 4. Ooh. Who schedules a meeting at 4 p.m. on a Friday? A very painful person. I suck at games. I don't think you have to be good at them to play them, but I could be wrong. I don't know. My favorite thing to do is raid with my group of clan mates. I don't know. I've known these guys for like 12 plus years. Only some of them virtually. And we get together and we raid, and I feel accomplished when my carpal tunnel doesn't start acting up, and just it's good. It's good fun. But that's kind of like my friends group right now. Like, they've always been a friends group for me, but they're really my only friends group right now with the pandemic. So Chris is saying I can't get past level 1 on the free Resident Evil game. I don't know. Resident Evil could be like really hard. I don't know. I'm assuming we should team up and get level 1 accomplished for you. Okay, so there's lots of things I'm going to do. First thing I'm going to do is quit Slack so that I can share my screen. I still feel like I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I did adjust all of my wires yesterday. I don't know if you've ever like gone underneath your desk and you're like, what is this maze? So I tried to tackle that and get rid of wires, pull in shorter ones, clean things up. And then my desk height, I was trying to like use standing this morning. So maybe that's why lights are off. Don't make me feel good that I suck at games. If you saw me in a jumping puzzle, you'd feel good about yourself, because it's quite sad. Okay, I am closing out everything that doesn't need to be open. Not that we're going to run anything heavy. I don't think I even need VS Code for this. Perfect. Okay, so let's share my screen, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna do the thing. Yeah, I'll share my whole screen for right now until we can get going. And this is the rose theme in Chrome, in case you need it. All right. So what I'm going to do is just open up a code pen and plop his code. Hopefully it's where's a new, there's like, I always struggle to find the new pin button. Ooh, woof. No, let's go with this width. Thank you. Maybe it's under my name, your work, profile, new pin. Yeah. I don't know why that button always evades me. Okay, we're gonna call this one rounded corner element of fun. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Do I still have it in my copy bar? I do still have it in my copy bar. Oh, wow. It's a lot of things. Why are there so many CSS files? Ed, why you do this to me? Okay, think I can just gonna grab the body. Scroll. Okay. That's a lot of CSS. That's a lot of sus. Okay. Paste it. I don't know if I need to include the body. I don't actually think I do for code pens. So I'm going to scroll back up and clean that up. And then I think maybe right click. An option. Format HTML. There we go. Save. Did he use Sass and not include it in the repo? Yeah, but I'm sure he did, but oh no, it's CSS, I think. Pretty sure that these are CSS files. But even if you don't include Sass in the repo, like if it's just an HTML and a Sass project, you can still like use like a Sass command to like compile it and get going, right? Like, oh, maybe that's just me. Oh, that's a lot. I did not expect there to be this much styles. That's weird. Okay. So we're just going to name them what he has. He named this page footer. I'm going to just do this to page footer. Not be this much. Oh, yeah, it is Sass. They're just because these are nested. I'm a little confused. Oh no, it's nested within a media query. Or yeah, that should be fine. Did anything happen? Yes. Okay. Next, page header layout. Hi, technology. I could be saying that wrong. Okay. Next one is, I think it was called page header. I don't know. We're gonna go back and double check. Save. And that's looking like something. And it was called page header. Okay. Oh, it was page header layout. This was done for troubleshooting. I'll probably merge these back soon. Okay. I'm just going to copy it. Everything except for the import since I'm I don't know. I usually don't have this many CSS files. So all right, JavaScript, go away. Go away. And we're going to make this a little bit bigger. Yes, that's better. Okay. And then we want to go to, so this, I'm assuming this rounded corner here, and then I think there's another rounded corner, was giving Ed problems. And he was like, I know grid. I think he actually was just really excited to use grid, which I think is wonderful. And apparently Salt is a very big, Salt in the chat is a very big advocate, a very, very, yay grid. It's the syntax. It's too complex. I understand what grid is doing, and I think is really cool, but it's just like if you're telling me that's like not a hurdle, then you're way smarter than I am. Because especially once you get to the point where you're like, this column and that column, and then make sure the units are all matching, and oh wait, what about that column and this, and then it's like actually, and then I'm just like, I can't, like, my brain. Okay, anyways, blathering. What was this one? This one was page home. Always really creepy when I hear noise from that wall, because that's an outside wall. So like someone's outside my house. Okay. That was the page home, and we're almost done. We've got 3 more. Oh, he's got a themes file. You cannot. Ed always goes all out. Like, it's like a single index page, and he has a themes file. I think it was Maine, but my memory is that of a goldfish. And then themes and variables. Oh. Okay. It was not what I was expecting from a themes file. Salt said it can be tricky to wrap your head around it for sure. Oh, I have to go and block that person. It's so painful. All right. I'm just going to put my face up for right now. And I'm going to go to the Twitch. I know there's like a command I can say in the chat, and it's like /block or some such nonsense. All right. Bear with me, beautiful, beautiful people. Where is the chat? Oh, I see. I don't think I had it open on that person. I'll block them soon. Hi, Ed. Watch it. I don't know what that means, Ed. Can you specify? Also, now that you're here, Ed, can you please block that person? The bot that's in the chat. Thank you. Okay. Back to screen sharing. Yes. What should do, Winder? Okay. Wouldn't have got that without your help. I thought it was a Pokemon. For those of you on the YouTubes, I was trying to understand what Ed was saying to me. We are taking your beautiful code, Ed, and putting it in a code pin because I don't know. I thought that would be easier than pulling down, but apparently not. Because you have so many CSS files. Who has this many files? Why? Why does you have this many files, Ed? Yeah, I wanted to show it off, talk about grid a little bit, and see if we really needed grid to achieve such sexy rounded corners. There we go. Save it. It was weird that I didn't, have the variables, but I wasn't getting mega yelled at for that. That's weird. I would have expected more issues. There's more now. Are you saying do I need to refresh? This looks pretty good. This looks good. Is this the width that you were showing me earlier? I think it was right here. I think this was where you were working. Oh, you can't see. My bad. Pull the latest. You're so adorable. Because my pulling the latest is like refreshing in GitHub. What did you change? Refresh. I guess I could just pull it down and do VS Code, but I was excited. Was excited to have a code pin to share out and to try. What did you change? 41 seconds ago. Oh. You added multiple. I get it. You like to separate your styles into different CSS files. It's just adorable because it's a single HTML page. I want to see how many CSS files you can get with one HTML page. Oh God, new comments. It's all vanilla CSS HTML. 0 bootstrap. This isn't. I can't remember. I don't think Chris is a bootstrap fan. Is he? I'm going to share my screen, but in a different way. So that it's a little bit, I think that should be a little bit bigger for you. Okay. Okay. Salt, you're confusing us. I just got a big yes and a big no. Okay, no bootstrap. That's much more. No bootstrap, no tailwind. So tailwind, I'm a little confused. Is tailwind like a component library, or are they just like like a styling, like a set of styles that you're like a theme. I don't. Okay. So anyways, I want to pull in your changes, Ed. I don't think you made it easy for me because I literally just pasted all of this into the code pin. And if it was like one CSS file and I could just be like, here you go, but it's not. And I really wanted to do it in a code pin. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. So I'm going to go with this until you forget code pin. No. Fine. You're gonna make me pull it down. It's gonna be so painful, and everybody's gonna be like watching my GitHub skills, or not my GitHub skills. I guess really my terminal my Git skills. Okay, fine. We're gonna go and do this thing the way that it properly should be done with the blobbities blahs. So we're under experimental. But if you perhaps wanted to play around with Ed's first version, I have the chat pulled up over here. There you go. Okay. So I'm going to fork it to Alyssa Michelle. I wonder how long this will take, especially since it's pretty small. It should be like instant, you know. Ed, you never have a README. Kidding. I mean, it's like the super smallest project, but GitHub is yelling at like me. So, okay. Now I need to clone this down. So we are going to redo screen sharing yet again. Share my screen, and I'm going to share my entire screen so that you can see my beautiful terminal. Be jelly. I want you all to be. I have README. It's called code. And don't get sassy. Don't get sassy on stream unless it's with like SCSS, and then that's okay. Okay. She's thinking about it. You gotta always keep your Oh My ZSH up to date. I'm gonna make this like real chunky, center it, and well, that was super weird. CD to development, CD to progress. Here's good. Git clone this thing. Alyssa's version of this thing. And what was it called? Experiment. VS Code. All right. So now we have this index. And she should be so pretty. Maybe that's too big. I don't know. Do that. We're going to do that. And then you can tell me if the font is too small or too large. Or if you would like me to go to dark mode, which I can. But I feel like sometimes on stream it's easier to see. Okay. Anyways, blathering. Collapse head. So we've got this goodness with the nav and the bio and the CTA. New things indeed. Let's copy this path and we're going to open up. Oh, I see. I see. So, Ed, do you just like want to just like join my stream with me? You don't have to, but like feel free to jump in because it is your code that we'll be talking about. But yeah, let's check it out. So I love this layered look. I think it's so fun and retro. I'm gonna pull up my inspector. The natural way that I browse websites that I'm unfamiliar with. Oh, okay. So look at this fun. So is it just the nav that has the gritty bits? Gritty. Ed said be there in a sec. Yay! I won't be alone anymore. Chris, you're always free to join too, by the way. Okay, so let's look at this. I really wanted to talk about I think he's here. I think he's here. That was my greeting to you. I think I can't hear you, but maybe everyone else can. Let me check my settings. Audio should be good. Yeah, I can definitely hear through that. Maybe it's you and not me.
Yeah, I think it was trying to listen through my Oculus. So is that better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Okay.
Um, Ed, first of all, sexy. Love this. Seriously, it's beautiful. Is the nav the only gritty bit?
No, there's actually the nav is Flexbox. So there's like there's 4 grids. If you look down in your inspector,
Mm.
you can see them. They are actually highlighted in the DOM tools, which is really cool. To the left, to the left. No, not drag.
What? What?
Take your mouse. Don't drag. See the word grid, like pilled on the side. Like all of those
I
are
was,
grids. There's too many of them, but there's grids everywhere. I got a little
why do you have so
crazy.
many grids?
So the first one is the container of the entire page. The second one is my special header grid that lets me split the header up into kind of a matrix, so I can get like the logo where I wanted it, and then the nav bar where I wanted it, and then have the little like offset where like one part's up here and the other part's down there. So there's some griddage going on. Like I
Yeah,
said, it may be a little excessive. I need to see if I can refactor when I'm done.
I love it though. I want to see. Let me pull up. So page header. Then is that where the what you were just talking about is outlined?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I split the header up into a grid of there's like so many rows that go down. I think there's like 6 rows or something like that, and then there's so many across,
Mm.
and it's split up that way so I can alternate like the left side, the logo. If you click on that grid again, you can kind of see where it lines up with the orange bits and the dark gray bits.
Mm.
Yeah, right there. So you can see like there's a grid that goes across and it's occupying 2 rows with the gray part, and then there's 3 rows on the orange part, and then it's split kind of off center. So if I did just 2 columns, it would be centered with the page, but I wanted it off centered just slightly. So I
Hmm.
split it into 12 columns, and then I went with like the fifth column through whatever.
I feel like with like flex, you know how you can give flex units and you can say like I want you to be flex 2 and you to be flex 1. I feel like you can get uneven columns with flex. Not saying that that would at all work for all of these things. Salt said I love grid because it's two-dimensional.
Yeah,
But show me, I want to see so what you're talking about but in this file. So
sure.
you
So scroll to um, there should be something at the top, I believe, and it
where you're saying
says yeah,
display grid.
display grid. So this is on mobile, so it's mobile responsive. So on mobile, it's going to do 1 column, so everything flows in 1 column. I still have that set of template rows though, because there's 4 rows. 1 row is the logo.
So
One
these
row.
max content are like variables that you created kind of thing.
No, actually, those are built in to the grid. Those are, from what I understand, they tell the grid that the size of that row is to size to the content.
Okay.
So it will never be bigger than the content.
Okay.
If you use fractional properties or values like one FR, one
Hmm.
fraction, it will take like the remainder of the screen height, which gets really wonky like vertically. So I wanted it to use the max content. You have to go down to mobile to see what you just did, by the way, because this all gets overridden in the
This
responsive bits. Keep going. It'll go all the
it,
way down.
isn't this mobile? I would have
There,
thought that was. I think
and
we're at
then
the this is the minimum. I
so
can do no smaller.
yeah, that's the smallest it'll go.
Okay, so if I change every unit to one FR, we should see a difference, right?
Yeah, it probably will break it. It will probably get really weird. Don't forget to refresh. Yeah, there you go. So now it's fractioning the grid up into pieces of equal real estate. So the logo got just as big as the menu did.
I see. So okay, I understand. So now whenever we tell it to be max content, you're saying it is only as big as it needs to be for
Yep. As much as the content will fill it, that's all it takes up.
what's up with the one rem? Why not max content on all four?
So the one rem
Because this is empty.
is for the fancy little border radius at the bottom.
What?
So here, like maximize your browser for a second.
This one? This?
Yep.
Like
Just
like this?
go full screen, and then change your DOM inspector to be like on the right hand side or left hand side, whatever you're comfortable with. There you go. Now resize the yeah. Now you can get a look at kind of the responsive behavior and inspect stuff and kind of fiddle with it. So if you click on the page header grid, kind of in the middle of the screen there, yeah, you can see how it's splitting it up. And then if you look at the grid columns, there's the logo is grid column or grid row 1. The menu is grid row 2 and 3. And then the call to action area below it is 3 to 4. So what happens is the nav menu and the call to action are both occupying that third row, and they overlap each other. So you can see when there's a border radius on it, you can see the call to action window beneath it.
So I'm a little confused. It looks like you have 3 rows, and you're saying that Mega Panel is consisting of this and this, correct? Like, do you have like 2 more?
Yeah, there's 2 elements in there. But if you look at collapse that back for a sec, you'll see there's 3 divs, but there's four grid locations, and the Mega Panel and the nav both occupy the third grid line, which is only 1 rem large. So that's that. They're actually overlapping on that third row.
So I only see, because you've got 1 to 2, and that's one section, 2 to 3, and that's 2, section number 2, and then 3 to 5, that's section
3
number
to 4
3.
is tiny, so the number for 3 to 4 is probably not big enough. Like the gap probably isn't big enough, I guess, for it to show the number.
Okay.
So from the little dotted line to the bottom of the orange is the third row.
Okay.
And then the other panel lifts up behind that and just overlaps it just a little bit.
Oh, so you're saying this right here is your 1 rem? Like, okay.
Yeah, it's overlapping the photo underneath. So when I draw the little curved edge on the left-hand side, it actually shows through instead of showing white behind it.
Okay. Well, cool. I know you sent out a video that was on CSS Tricks that was like talking about grid and is that what like got you excited to dive in?
Yeah, I was watching because I didn't really know a whole lot about CSS Grid other than it's finally like standard, and I was like, I gotta dig into this thing and see how it will help or hurt me because I've seen people trying to use it and I didn't quite understand it. I've used Flexbox a lot, but I was like, let's check out Grid too and see if I can really like leverage that. And I was like, let me see if I can recreate my own website without like Bootstrap or any other kind of like helper library, and managed to get it to work. So it's pretty cool so far.
So, okay, we've got display grid. I get template columns auto. That means I don't really care about the column sizes. I'm only here to define the rows, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because this is mobile. Remember, this is a mobile first. So if you scroll down, there's going to be a media query that overrides all of that. And there you go. So when you get to a bigger screen, it starts to expand the grids.
Okay.
So where we had like 1 tube of information. Now it's going to split some things off. So if, that first breakpoint's at 570, that's going to take that main call to action and take it from a layered, there's like a blue box in my photo, and it's going
Oh
to
yeah.
take the two and snap them side by side instead. Blip.
You talking
There
about
you go.
this?
I love it. Yep.
Okay, so why 570 and why 768? I always struggle when it comes to this when you start layering in media queries, and I'm like,
So I think so. Some of this is like legacy from my existing site, but I believe those numbers originally came from 1170 is like one of your screen sizes is 1200. So that minus some borders and padding and stuff is 1170.
okay.
So even the image I think is 1140. So the image is 570 because it's half of that. So 570 times 2, 1140. And then it fits within a 1200 frame window.
Okay.
Math.
So, so are those the only two that you have? Is that
No,
really all you need? 570, 768, and then everything?
Yeah, everything else is bigger. So it just beyond 768, everything just expands outward.
Okay.
So it's all percentage and just stretchy.
So for a baseline, you're saying I liked how you put it, one tube for the for the mobile view. And then I still, okay, so is this the only part? Because I think there's another, like a shorthand where you can say grid. I really don't remember. And it's something like this. And then it literally looks like a grid. You know what I'm talking about?
So you can define the rows, like what they fit within the grid. I think what you're looking for, maybe you can do something like that. I don't know.
It's like one
There's like a million
screen
different syntaxes to do this
thing.
stuff. So there could be like 3 more that I don't know about. There is one where you can use text-based areas as well. So you can say grid template,
Yeah.
foo, nav,
Yes. And then
whatever.
you go and you define foo, which is what I kind of thought you might be doing here, but you're saying no, max content is already defined by the grid. Because
Yeah.
I'm used to looking at this matrixy.
The reason I couldn't use the named templates was I couldn't figure out how to get them to overlap. Because if one section is foo and the other section is bar and you want them to overlap, what do you write? Like, how do you tell them to occupy the same thing? So I couldn't figure out. So I just went with,
Salt said grid template areas.
Yeah.
That's totally, I'm going to pull that up real quick because I want to grid template areas, CSS tricks. No, they've got a good rundown.
Yeah, I started with that actually, and I got to the point where I needed to overlap things, and I was like, what word do I use to describe both of these things occupying the same grid space? And I was like, dirt, I don't know. I just went back to numbers. I was like, numbers work.
Yeah, this was where you have like a named header, and this is saying I want header to be 4 columns wide, and this is saying main, whatever you named main to be, is 2, and then you actually give those names up here with grid area. So this is the grid that I'm familiar with. I assume the way you're doing it is like this. I feel like this is shorthand, and then your way is more specific because you're actually breaking it into rows and columns and then being specific about those, because at least that's the way I understood it when I learned about areas. But maybe
the thing that I thought was interesting about areas is you can take and move elements around the rendered DOM like at will. So it doesn't really matter what the source order is. Like you can have a div that's been entered at the top of your document, and just by telling the grid like the header belongs on the bottom, it'll just plop like rendered on the bottom. So I thought that was really cool, but like I said, I couldn't get the overlapping thing to work. I was kind of baffled as to what I was supposed to name something if it occupied the same row. So
Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, I know you can leave them blank, I think, with, or no, actually, period is,
yeah, period will make it empty, it looks like.
it's, yeah. And so I
But
know
if
that
you
I thought,
wanted, in this example they gave here, if you wanted the sidebar to overlap the header,
hmm
how would you tell it to do that? There's like,
yeah, I don't know, but
yeah,
I definitely want to try at some point because I love this visual, like we're actually laying our header out like this.
I think
It's a little
one of
overwhelming to
the
look at this
one of
and
the
be like,
solutions I saw about overlapping with the name things reverted back to like going the way I did. So the names kind of lost their meaning at that point. It was like they were there,
oh,
you could use them, but when you're overlapping, you're going to use numbers anyway. So it's like it's just extra
and
cruft now.
you have to overlap in order to get your like that look of the border radius
Yeah,
and
so
something peeking out behind it.
yeah, in my experience, overlapping things in CSS causes you so many issues because you're either gonna like float it and absolute position it, or you're going to do some sort of margin trickery. So you take like element and give it negative margins, and that negative bottom margin, I think it is, and it'll like suck the element below up inside of it, which is really goofy. And then when you do that, it throws like the DOM still thinks it's like X units tall, but then the margin is off by negative so many units. So it like draws like the whole page upward with it, and then you start putting more elements on and then it just turns trash on you. And it's like you have to keep like every element then like inherits the smell of like it needs a extra few pixels to make it appear in the right place. So my current site has that. Like if you go to my site
Yeah,
and
what is
like
it? Let's pull it
it's
up.
it's edcharbeneau.com. So it is my name, and it's like cobbled
Uh,
together from like so many different resources. So
this is not. This
you
isn't
can't spell my
the.
name, can you?
No, not at all.
It's
It's
only on the
there's
screen.
so many letters. I'm just.
Oh, okay, you did get it up there.
I just get confused. Okay, I just get confused.
So if you want to see it
Uh,
fall apart, just resize it very slowly. You'll see like some of the breakpoints don't work because I just gave up at some point. I was like, this sucks.
what were you using? Just positioning, or
Yeah, see, there's one.
oh, you're talking about
It's
this?
like, yeah. See, it kind of got goofy. And
Oh,
what's awesome is you don't get that. Yeah, there's another one. After so many breakpoints, you're like, okay, this is good enough.
how many do you have on here? Do you remember?
I think there's at least four.
Four. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a
It
lot of them
starts
are just for that header piece because
gets it gets so tedious at a
there's yeah.
point. You're like, really?
So you can see like if you scroll slow, there's one that takes the content and kind of shrinks it down just a little bit and fits it to like a tablet, and then there's another one,
Oh,
like there's one right there,
right.
and then there's one that removes the column that says Twitch and podcast. There's
Oh
another one.
yeah, that one right there. Is
Yeah.
that for like the first mobile?
Yeah, that's like I think tablet where you're at now. And
Well, but see, but the
then
confusing thing is, wouldn't this be like where an iPhone is at because of pixel density? Even though it's wider than the iPhone, the pixels are there.
I think the iPhone reports a different size than what it actually is.
Really?
I think so.
What? Okay,
You
let
could
me.
try
I
it.
want
I
to pull
might
up
be wrong.
the this thing, and then I'm gonna make this real big, and then let's go to. Yeah. So you. This is the iPhone. Let's go to iPhone X.
It's
Yeah, it looks
still
smaller than that the media query we were just at, I think.
yeah. It says 375 by 812 is what it's actually coming. The browser's seeing it as.
Okay. I always that's where I struggle because I look up I'll look up like, oh yeah, like this certain phone is like this many pixels by this many pixels. But then if you put the media query like at that, I sometimes I get really I'm like it's not working for that.
So
My
the
friend tells me, he's like, just scroll down and fix each part that breaks and you're golden.
true. The grids actually help though, because you saw that one like where the media queries broke and it kind of like floats around on my live site. So the grids
Oh,
actually
right.
solved that. So
Why
yeah,
why would it solve this?
because this again had something to do with the negative margins. So you could see the
Oh.
menu had wrapped just one like item wrapped around the little
Oh, and so it
Twitch
made this
icon.
too.
So it made it
Yes.
taller, which makes the negative margin not enough to cover that space again.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. And so you're saying because grid is always, I mean, I don't think they ever separate.
No,
Um,
because the grid lines will extend and then the elements will just like lock to those grid lines. So it never gets like out of sync with that negative
this is
margin.
really cool. I didn't know at all about max content. I was going to try to find that
I
in this
think I got
guide.
it out of here because I was having an issue with some of the fractional bits and it was drawing like the huge like nav bar. And I was like, I don't want the nav bar to take like a third of the page. And I really don't need it to shrink and grow. I kind of know what size it's always going to be. So just what can I do?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. So it
yeah,
looks like there's pixels rems percentage, which I knew about min content and max content. Why did you use max over min? I'm trying to understand
um,
to be let me go back to there was another thing here that said minimum required width or height you can use min or max for the maximum required width or height. That's really hard for me to wrap my brain around.
yeah, I don't know what the min would be.
I'm gonna try it and see if it breaks.
Yeah, it may. I could have maybe even used auto there now that I've got it to where it's happy. So I don't know
Let
if
me
it's going to
see.
have any effect on it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it changed anything.
No.
Mm-mm.
And then I want to see if auto is kind of the same, which I know there's going to be situations where these are needed, but I getting to know the grid, I always like to see if I can break it, and that kind of teaches me. That's why I use this. Is this working? I think.
I don't know. It's a little delayed on my video here. I don't know if I'm losing my internet or what, but I'm a couple seconds behind you.
I think
I think I'm
it's
caught up now.
I think it's mostly there's did it do this before? Yeah, I think it did that. Maybe. Yeah, you had the side by
Yeah.
side.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they're supposed to all kind of stack on that small view there. So
So
I go ahead.
no, I'm just trying to. I really don't understand like max and min content. I need to
Yeah,
make a note to like read into those and like exactly where you'd want to use them.
yeah, I might need to look into them again myself because I'm not sure how they differ from something like auto. Uh,
Mm.
but again, I was having the fractional units are what was really sticking me there, and I was like, I don't know what to do. This thing is just way too big all the time. So I started playing around with some settings, and you do that thing in Chrome where you're like, you have like the property, and you just keep hitting like down, and you're waiting for the right like state to be like, oh, that's where it's supposed to be. Like that's the
Yeah.
property setting I wanted.
Yes.
I like hit max content. I'm like, yeah, that did it.
That's
I'll keep it.
it's exactly, especially when learning something new. You're like, yeah, that's definitely what we need right in here. um, by Salt, I think Salt had it out.
Yeah.
Um, no, I really love this, and I admire that like you just threw this together today. You're like, what's grid, and
I was having a
now here it
blast with
is.
it. So I got really into seeing. I wanted to see how far I could push this without sass. So this is like totally dynamically styled too. So
What
you
do you mean by
can
that?
like choose your own adventure like with colors here.
Oh my god. Shit, what are you talking about? Like with these? Wait, what?
Yeah, so there's a lot of trickery around the theme. So if you open the variables file,
Mm-hmm.
um, you're gonna have to have a HSL color, a
Okay.
hue saturation and
So I
lightness
will
color.
I will get a HSL color. I use this beautiful color picker app, and doesn't matter what color to you.
No, just pick any of them,
I
anything you
want to go
like.
with this pink
There you go,
and HSLA or HSL. What'd you say?
HSL. There,
Okay.
I'm not
And
using
then
the what do you call it? The transparency at all.
alpha,
Yeah. So take that on the put it in the primary.
and then 92, and then 63. Colors are weird, man.
I
Maybe you
know.
ever look into like the different color types and what they all mean? It's weird. Okay.
Yep.
Is it good or do I need to do
Yeah, that's it.
something?
Just refresh the page.
Nice. So that primary is now showing up. So you meant without SAS because you're talking about with like SAS variables and
Yeah,
things?
there's no SAS variables in this at all.
Because you're
Yep.
just
No
using.
no compilation required. And there's even a spot on the buttons where it does some calculations to create alternate color themes and stuff. So that's why it requires the HSL color. You can't use hex because you can't do calculations on hex. Womp womp.
Mm,
So there is, if you look at the variables file, you can actually just see it. It's right up front. So if you go down to second or first darker, second darker, primary darker, it's darkening the color dynamically there.
mm. With
So
calc, I love me some calc by 0.3%.
yeah, you take the lightness and then you just tweak the values a little bit, makes it
Yeah.
darker. So I
I
started
dare say
converting
it might
everything.
not be dark enough. Let's crank this up, shall we?
Yeah, you're gonna have to look hard to see it, like the thing I went through for such a trivial feature.
No, subtlety
So
is beautiful in design.
it's
You know that.
on the button, on the rim of the button. The
Yeah, I
the
see it.
border the border gets darkened.
Oh, I love it.
But what's really
Oh,
neat is if you open the button file, this is the part that I was just working on.
button
So
file. Where's button file? Aha.
buttons. This would have been a monster in one SAS or CSS file. Come on.
No, no, it would have, but I was not. When I saw the screenshot and I saw index.html, I was like, there are 10 CSS files. Like, you've got to admit, this is like, and I'm not saying it's not needed because you have a lot of CSS in each of these. I was expecting, like, oh, 2 lines here, 3 lines there. And I was going to be like,
Yeah.
we've got to talk. But no, like, I was just impressed with how much CSS you did on this one page.
Well, it's the site's overall theme, so
Right.
it's not just the homepage. Like I can
Right.
extend this out. I have like a couple projects that use the same theme.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm gonna start using this new one in place of the old one. Cause
So
like
do you change your theme often? Because it looks like you're making it so that you can just plug in whatever colors you want. Is that something you do frequently?
I want to make this so I can have a dark mode.
Yes.
So
I
I
actually
don't
wanted to
have
talk to
dark
you about
mode.
that because yesterday I was thinking about you as I was looking for. It was late at night and I was working on a project and my eyes were killing me, and so I kept going to different docs, and they didn't like have a dark mode option, and I was trying to find a Chrome extension that would like just override what, like, give me whatever colors I don't care, just dark mode colors. And so I was thinking about you because like I don't know why dark mode just automatically go to you, and like you talk about accessibility often in dark mode, and so but I was just like, I could not for the life of me find I tried almost every single Chrome extension for like dark mode theming to like override websites, and none of them would work on the particular docs that I was on. And so I
TJ.
I I love that you're doing this, but I don't know if it's needed. I mean, it's needed if you go beyond 2 themes. But if you're just doing it for a dark light mode toggle.
So here's the thing. So there's more media queries coming. Let me see if I can find the spec for this.
Wait,
so
are you talking
I
about?
can
Oh my god!
explain it. So
are you talking about like prefers color scheme? I love that. Media
Yeah,
query.
they're adding another one, and it's there, but it's only supported in like the bleeding edge version of Chrome or something like that, like the whatever that's called.
TJ's on. He said light mode for life.
So the other one is prefers color contrast or something like that, contrasting colors. There's another preference.
Is that one like live, good to go out there?
No, so that was the one. If I can find it, like the browser support was like just bleeding edge, like beta stuff. But the idea is like you have high contrast color that you can turn on in your OS. And that's for folks that have visual impairments where they require like, if you looked at the screen, like when somebody has that on there, it's like, it'll be like super black, but the text is like neon pink. And it's like really just kind of hard to look at for a normal person. But for people that require it, like that makes the text stand out to where they can see it and stuff. So you can
I did not know about that one. What did you say it was called? Prefers color contrast? Yeah, because
something like
I
that.
was so excited to hear about prefers color scheme, the media query, and I want to use it to. Well, I don't know. I'm wondering, because there's so many Chrome extensions that are failing so hard at this, if it's really that difficult to override, like even just background colors.
Chat.
Like, although I have
it to every
nice.
channel.
Perfect. There. That's good. That's good, because we're streaming into the YouTubes as well. We want everybody to get it. So that's
But if you pull that one up, you can see the various properties that are there. So there's one in that list that is prefers contrast, and if you look at prefers contrast, it comes back as less or more, and you can kind of match it. It's supported in nothing right now. Not a single browser. But this, I guess it's a future spec. So this will be another one. So you can, if you turn this on your OS, like I said, it's pretty rough to look at because the contrast is so high. I mean, it's purposely for people that need, that the background that's not necessary muted out, so the text really just bolts through. And a lot of times you see colors that are like almost neon that are being used with that. So that would be another one.
But did you use which one was it that you used for that talk you told me about on stage where you were targeting different?
That was just screen sizes. So that was just
it was screens. I thought you were doing something.
Now you could. So back in the day, when you were just a wee little girl. No.
What?
When responsive design first kind of took off, it's the same media queries, but there were just not that many devices out. So you had like basically 1 or 2 iPhones, like the Samsung Galaxy and Windows Phone, and that was about it. Like it was about 4 devices. So if the media query hit like just one of those screen sizes, you could pretty much tell exactly what device it was. Where now there's like a bazillion different tablets.
I was thinking that like you could do it still today, but you're right. It would be really hard, wouldn't it, to identify?
Yeah, I think there's some way through JS that you can do device detection, but it requires like keeping a database and stuff. It's really like there were companies that specialized in that, like as a service, but yeah, TJ's chiming in too. So they, if I remember right though, they're not like exact. They're not like, hey, I'm a iPhone whatever. They give you like these kind of like cryptic things like model numbers and stuff. And there were databases you could go send that information to and get like the exact device dimensions and things back. But
Oh.
it wasn't like a user friendly, like developer friendly piece of metadata that you got. It was something you had to like inquire more from a database from to get anything
Is it
useful from it.
is it just impossible to have a media query that says like if mobile? like is that just because the lines are blurred between like what a mobile device is? Is that why
Yeah,
it's just
because is it mobile? Is it just a screen that's on somebody's refrigerator door? Is it a watch? Is it like define mobile? Like what is what does that mean? Is it on a car dashboard? Like, we have
right?
everything has a browser these days, so
Yeah.
they
No,
kind of
you're
gave up
right.
on trying to tie it to a device and just went with screen size because that's
Mm. I'm
really all that's maintainable.
I'm excited to see like whenever I'm old and dying, like what the technology is for my kids and their kids then. Like I'm
Paint such a
excited.
pretty picture. When I'm old and when I'm on my
It just
deathbed.
it's just changed so much within our lifetime that I'm excited to see what it is whenever I'm on the way out. So
So here's another good media query too. This is
what?
prefers
Tell me.
reduced motion.
You
Like
should share
that's
your
a
screen. I want to see. I want to see.
oh, I can do that. Hang on. It's gonna like holo mirrors. I don't have my second monitor set up, but
I
it
mean,
is
I
what it
always am
is.
Hall of Mirrors. That's how I roll.
So in the Hall of Mirrors mode, there we go. So prefers reduced motion. So this one
I
tell
wondered how this one would work if it would literally just like kill every transition.
so you can. Um, so there is a setting in your mobile devices that says that you don't want all of these animations. So you toggle this off in like Windows 10, for example. You visit the site and you can literally squish all of the animations. And
Okay.
we just put out
And now be
a
specific. Do you think it's
FAQ.
all animations or do you think it's
Oh, it's
transitions as well?
it's up to you as a developer.
Oh.
So it's just a media query. So if we go, let me see if I
Oh,
can find it.
I see. I see what you're saying.
In our docs on Blazor, we just added this. And I'm trying to remember if it is in our knowledge base. I think it is.
Do I have a knowledge base? Is that just you?
No, they're in every product. Let's
Really do
see.
tell.
I think this is it here. Yeah. So in our knowledge base, we added this because a customer was asking. They had like a lot of data entry happening, so they didn't want animations on like date pickers and pop-ups and drop
Yeah,
downs and all of that because they're like, we have like 100 fields, and if somebody's spending 3 seconds per field or 300
no,
milliseconds per field, this
absolutely,
adds up
yeah.
to money for us. So how do we turn this off? So you can actually go in and set transition to none.
Mm. Right.
So we went ahead and added a blurb about the media query in here as well. So you can
Nice.
say if you have users that prefer no animations, then you can go ahead and just kill all the animations for the entire product. Pretty smooth.
Prefers reduced notion. Interesting. Although I guess for theirs, they would just turn it on for all of their clients for whatever page that was.
Yeah, they
Probably
wouldn't
not
even
just for
use the media query part. They would just slap this piece
slap
into
that in there.
their app and kill all the
Right.
animations globally.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I was always told that if your user notices the UI, that's a bad thing. Like in any way,
Yeah.
whether it's motion or design, if they're aware of it, then it's probably not a good thing. So,
It can be used
oh,
to advantage too. I've seen some good UIs that have cues that they kind of show you where something is going to be by having like a little transition animation that like moves something to the side, like where
okay.
the menu is located or something. Windows Phone was really great for that. They had like something they called like a turnstile effect. So if you think of like those things that you use to like get in and out of like the subway or whatever, like that rotating motion,
Yeah.
like they would move things like if something was going to go off screen, they would move it in the direction of where the UI component was to get that thing back
to get it back.
once it was gone.
I've seen certain apps do that, and it's like almost a way of like teaching like to swipe, like to get this back you need to swipe back over here. Like I've seen that used before, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm apologizing for just sharing your code to the world without asking.
Oh no! If you would have checked Slack, I asked you if you wanted me to
you.
join you.
Thank you.
So
I did. I am oblivious to the Slacks right now. I apologize.
yeah, I've
Oh
got
my
another
goodness.
app that uses that same template, and I have like the empty state is like a dialogue that's right smack in the center of the screen, and this was like before CSS lets you like horizontally center something or vertically center something. Vertically center. So there's like a whole hot mess of code that keeps trying to center it as you move the different screen sizes. And this CSS grid thing is going to help immensely. So.
Revolutionize it. Is it all pulling? So you say that like you've got multiple things using this, like these styles. Is it all pulling from the same source, or do you copy it over into like that repo?
I usually fork it. So
Fork it.
Yeah, I've got to manually like merge this stuff later.
I was like,
Sometimes
if you've got like some sort of like cool like styling system, I need to see.
I wish these things kind of take a life of their own once I turn them into another project. Like the website I have has a bunch of Jekyll stuff that I borrowed, like pagers and blog postings and different themes I have to adapt or different HTML I have to adapt the theme to.
Yeah.
So this one,
I was like, what is that? I want to see that. What is that?
this is a Blazor app that I have that's like a travel picking
This
app.
is so fun. How are you creating this? Is that an image that's overlaying the star background, or what is that?
Yeah, it's just one big fat image that I used in the background. Let's see, right here. Yeah, so you can.
Makes me want to try to build it with CSS.
Yeah, me too.
I love that. That's so fun.
Me too. I just threw the giant image on there, but this centering piece is annoying me because if you look, I'll do the little.
Let's see it. Let's see
thing
it.
I just told you about here. We'll snap this to the side. And you can watch it kind of like dart all over the screen as it tries to keep up with where it's supposed to be centered. So the grid will fix this experience here.
If it makes you feel any better, only developers who are examining your CSS do this to a site.
I know that. There's also there's a scroll bar that appears momentarily that drives me insane. Like you can barely see it. Like I don't even know if the stream has enough.
I was going to say, I didn't see it.
frame
Where
rate
is it
to pick
appearing?
up, but it'll come up like the scroll bar flashes as this pops up over here. And like I have a feeling once I re-grid this,
You think it'll just be gone?
Yeah. And then the layout here, like after you pick all of your trip information and you hit estimate trip cost, like this layout could use some love too. It's kind of floaty and weird.
The first time I saw this site, I was like enamored. I was like, this is so cool.
This one?
Yeah, it just the idea of it, I loved it. It made me so happy. So I want to. You got to ping me whenever you add grid to it as well, and I need to go watch that grid video that got you so inspired to tackle it, because it's still kind of one of those things where it's overwhelming. It's scary.
Yeah, Chris Coyer is awesome. So just watching him go into the browser and just hack away on some code was just fun for an hour. So I was like, my Flexbox skills are decent. Let's go get some.
You're like, let's go and
code.
slap on some grid skills.
So
well, thank you for coming on today, and sorry for not seeing Slack and pulling you on in the most awkward of ways. That's how I roll.
What we do.
Oh, I think that's a wrap for today, though. I really will. I'm going to do some research on the grid and bring back an example of my own next week. So
Cool.
You can
Yeah,
judge
you can
me,
teach me how to do it right because I know I'm doing it all wrong.
or you could just judge the way I did it. You know, lots of judge. Hi, TJ. Maybe we need to make
Bye,
TJ come on
TJ.
with us. I think I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know if it'll be next week, but I want an Ed, TJ, and Alyssa judging my CSS show. I think that would be just.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, everyone in the chat, for joining in. And thank you, Ed, for hopping on and letting us go through your grid example. We wish you the best of luck in the rest of your grid endeavors.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me crash.
Oh, and happy weekend, everybody. So, yeah.
Really? It's time to play some games, get some fun in.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. I've been getting into actual physical board games lately. Ticket to
Oh,
Ride.
fun.
It's a fun one. So,
We've been playing some what's it called? The island one that sinks the fail. What's it called?
Island that sinks?
Yeah, there's like a whole series of them. They're really cool.
Atlantis?
No. It's an island game. What is this thing called?
I know. I need to know because I love new board games.
Forbidden Island. Yeah, Forbidden Island. It's like so much fun. Here, I'll pull it up on the thing real quick.
Yes, because I'm
You're
writing
ready
this
to
down.
go, and here I am, like putting something else on
No,
screen.
I love new board games. It's my jam.
So
How many players?
This one's cool. It's I think it's six, up to six, and it's a team game. Like you're playing with each other, not against each other.
Like co-op?
Yeah, and you shuffle like these little cube-shaped cards, and it's ironically like our grid we talked about today. So you create like a grid that becomes the playing board, and then you draw so many cards that you have to use each round. And if you draw a card and it says that the water's rising, then you have to go like flip certain tiles. And if they get flipped twice, they disappear, and then you like lose the ability to like get the treasure and get off the map. So you end up, if too much of the map sinks, you lose. So
That sounds like so much fun.
Dynamic and fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Depending on how you deal them out and shuffle them, it like rearranges the board, so it's a fresh like board experience each time.
I love things like that. Thank you for sharing. I have it written down as I'm excited. I haven't told anybody yet. We signed on a new house. We're just renting for
Ooh,
now, but we're
awesome.
moving states. And we have eyeballed out exactly where all our games are going to be already in the new because it's kind of a travesty where they're all shoved right now. So, but yes, that's a perfect idea for a DevRel summit. Just like everybody brings their favorite board game.
When things go back to normal, Alyssa, I have to introduce you to some conferences where that is like a big part of it.
There was one called Burning Cat. Did you hear about it? I don't know if it was
Cat.
where it was an actual board game conference, and it was like cusp of this all happening. I think their first one was planned. I don't even know if it went over, but it was like you just come and like try out new board games and meet the creator of board games, and like it was like a big board game fest. But NGConf is the only one I've ever been to that had an actual like room dedicated to board games. And not only that, but it was like the night of one of the conferences. You could go and like sit at a table, people would meet you, and you'd pick out the game you wanted to play, and they had game masters coming around teaching people like, hey, do you know how to play that?
Yeah.
You want me to teach you? You want me to host it? You want me to walk you through? And it was just like, so you're saying you've been to other conferences like that? Because that was the only one I've ever been to.
In Central Ohio, there's a couple that are like board gaming is really huge there for some reason, and there's Code Mash is one of them. Code Mash has a giant game room, and they bring in like carts of games, and it may be the same company that supplies the games that does Stir Trek as well. So Stir Trek, like the night before the conference, is game night. Like that's the only reason it exists, and you go the night before, and depending on where the conference is, like they open up a big room and they have a supplier that brings in like.
I know it's
games.
like so cliche. It's not even right, but like more than going out to like a bar with friends or karaokeing or like board games, like that's the table you're gonna find me at.
When we went to London one year, NDC London, right near the Waterloo Bridge, there was a restaurant, bar, whatever you want to call it, a food establishment. Um, and when you go in, it is wall to wall board games, and you pay per hour to sit and eat and play. So you order your
Oh
food,
my
you sit
god.
down after you're done eating, you're like, I want 2 hours at this table. And like everybody at the table chips in, and then you can just walk up and get any board game you want off the
Oh my
wall.
god. It's
And
like
it was
paying
so
for
cool.
it's like paying for your pool table, but you're paying for like the game table. I love
Yep.
it.
Yeah, it was amazing. So,
I was literally like preggers, like all the way about to pop preggers, and I was like, take me to a pool bar. And Zach was like, what? I'm like, I want to play some pool. So waddling around. Sorry, totally random anecdote to your gaming. Oh, well, thank you, Ed. I really am going to try Forbidden Island. Sounds fun. Love
yeah,
love
it's
me
a good
some new
one.
board games. And
Yeah,
seriously, when we can travel, we're gonna make it happen.
I know. I know. We're getting close, I
Mm.
hope. But have
Also, where'd you get the beanie and how can I get one?
so there's this wonderful, wonderful person that we both know. Her name is Meryl.
Meryl!
And if you ask Meryl if we have any beanies left to send you
She'll
one,
say no. I sent my last shipment to Ed.
hopefully we do have some left.
Hmm.
We had Telerik ones and Kendo ones, and now we have Progress ones.
I do not
So
know how, but you always have your finger on the heartbeat of things, and it drives me crazy. And one day I'm going to be as good as you are at the whole knowing things, just like knowing things.
it's
Oh.
all comes with being a geek, I think. Like my wife and I have like kind of this meme. She'll just like see something on TV and she'll go, I wonder how that works. And I'll go, do you really want to know? Because usually I know, like for some reason I just know the explanation, and then I'll start giving it, and she's just like, why did I ever say that out loud? So now I ask her. I was like, do you really want to know,
No,
or are you just
was that like a just a pondering,
rhetorical?
or are you actually interested?
Like I can't
Oh
remember what
gosh.
random thing it was one night. I mean, it was like just totally just why would anybody know this type of crap? And she's like, I wonder how that works. And I started explaining it to her. She's like, why on earth do you know how that works? I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
No, I can see that about you. Because of your Lego walking encyclopedia about all things. I love it. It's very useful for others. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yes.
maybe it's annoying for your brain. I can't imagine living in the encyclopedia.
Just never make assumptions about the quiet kid. Like that was always me. I was the quiet because I was just absorbing everything. It's like, oh. And then like the teachers were like, he's quiet, he's dumb. And then I'd go home and like just spill all the information to my parents, or I'd have a test and I would just boggle this teacher's mind because I'd do terrible in class until the test came, and I was just like, check, 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 done. And they'd look at it and they're like, wait, how did he know what this was?
Ah, I love it. I love it. That's the perfect takeaway. Don't underestimate the quiet ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a teacher tell me to not bother coming in for the final exam because they thought I was just not capable because I was quiet. And the next day, like the teacher had to eat crow while she said, one student in the class and only one student got 98% on the final exam. I was like, booyah.
Oh my gosh. That's so weird. I've never heard of people being picked on because they were too quiet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, teachers were terrible.
I had the opposite problem. They're like, you're
Yeah.
too loud. Please
They're like,
stop
he's
talking.
quiet. He must be stupid. He doesn't get anything. And then I just
Oh my gosh.
I had one that required a notebook for everything, and I was like, I don't do notebooks. And at the end of the semester, she was like, "You're getting a 0. You didn't turn in a notebook." I was like, "I told you I don't need a notebook." So she got out her like the teachers have like that master book with all the answers, and she's like doing like this pop quiz to catch me, and I sat there and like nailed every question she asked.
And so was she like, fine, you don't need a notebook?
Yeah, yeah. She was cool. She was like, she went in and she's like, "You're getting a B because you're supposed to turn in a notebook." She's like, but I'm giving you a B. I'm like, okay. She's like, I'd give you an A if there's actually a notebook here. I was like, cool.
Oh my. I can see you gave them some serious sass. At least you didn't turn in a notebook that the only thing inside of it was I don't need this. At least you weren't that bad.
Like super passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Just like a drawing of a middle finger inside.
Well, thank you, Ed. Seriously, this was a lot of fun, and I hope that we've brightened some developers' days. As I was saying in the beginning, I don't know why, but there's a lot. I know I saw that. I don't speak Russian. Do you?
I don't speak Russian. I do know a little tiny bit of Bulgarian, but not
Oh,
enough to
I know
sound.
a dishian of German, so we're right there.
There we go. Not enough to be dangerous. That's all.
But I think the accent is just gorgeous. Mwah, but I don't know how to speak it. But yes,
I can read it a little better than I can communicate it. But
why would you? How do you? Oh, it's because you're the inside. Right. I should really stop asking that question. I'm like, how do you know that? Like, how? It's because you're Ed. I'm just gonna make a blanket. Well, I think we are off, but hopefully you all have a beautiful weekend and nobody is downtrodden anymore because I know people are struggling right now. So we're sending you lots of love. Mwah! And have a marvelous time.
have a good weekend.